Yeah, and so here again, your friendly local constitutional coop from California. And we're going to do another video here you're going to love about, criminal court, traffic court, and all this nonsense. And a lot of you instinctively know that there's a lot wrong with this entire system. And you're right, but you don't know the details because they never bothered to teach you anything in the mandatory public education system. So you don't know, and you get in there, and sometimes they'll force an attorney on you, and that's a very interesting subject matter we'll be talking about later. Send me an email, uincourt@gmail.com, uh, because the attorney, in theory at least, should save the day, but it's the exact opposite of what they do in this era, and has been for probably close to 90 years. Because even if they know what I'm talking about, they're not going to do it because it puts the just us system out of business, exactly where it should be. So that said, you just simply have to learn, and you will. Send me an email, by the way, uwinnincourt@gmail.com, about my modestly priced constitutional defense document packets. And you'll learn the issues to present and how to present them. And while we're in an era here, we haven't had it in 150 years, with the Supreme Court coming to the end of its term in June. And I'm looking for some retirements. We'll see how many we get. I would like to see 3, because we get a younger Supreme Court and you're conservatives. They're going to be ready to finally revert to doing the job they were put in business to do in 1787. And they'll admit themselves, at least privately for now, that that court hasn't done its job up until the last 5 years or so, and it needs to start doing it faster. That's going to make more difference than anything else. And that's one reason for the business with Trump and executive orders. We'll discuss all that in another video. But send me an email, uwinnincourt@gmail.com, because what you're going to learn here will blow your mind. But it's all there in black and white, and we can prove every bit of it. That's how good of a job those racist framers did back in the day, creating a Republican form of government of defined and limited powers, which today has morphed into today's much ballyhooed democracy, 3 wolves and 2 sheep voting on what's for dinner, aka today's elected despotism. And you're going to learn, believe it or not, there are no elections because that birthright citizenship from the 14th Amendment does not exist. And that's the only thing these de facto baboons in Washington, D.C. recognize. It's not there. Oh, that's the magnitude of the issues here. But it is what it is, and that's what we're going to be dealing with. And we get that issue before the court once the 14th Amendment is gone. Oh, that takes care of things virtually across the board. Because all that is what I call jus soli, foreign state, subordinate, corporate, made dead birthright citizenship, who have no rights the de facto national socialist government is bound to respect. You and I, being real people, and it's hard to see how they confuse us in their quote unquote courtrooms with Chase Bank, IBM, or Microsoft. Do we look like corporations, Judge? No, we have real rights, and not only that, a racist framers ordained and established this Constitution to secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. We own the fucking place, and yet we don't have any creator endowed rights anywhere in sight. And that's what you're going to learn all about. And it's so exciting. Send me an email, uwinnincourt@gmail.com. There I am, will be 77 later this year. Life is still ahead of me. That's how good it is. And it would have been nice if I had learned all this decades ago in my school outside of Washington, D.C. It was much better education in those days, none of this transgender crap or any of that nonsense. But we didn't hear a word about this. And all I heard about President Johnson, Andrew Johnson, He was our worst president. He got impeached. If I had known why he got impeached, and you're going to learn all about that, my life would have been different at 14. That's how strong these things are. And we have a Supreme Court now, the last 5 years has pretty much been doing its job. Not as quickly as I would like, but they know exactly what I know. And when we get there, and you're going to learn, we can get there on the express train in what's known as their original jurisdiction. That's where big changes are going to come. So send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. And, just, wow, I can't tell you how good it is. And the good news is when you get my materials, you can teach your children, your grandchildren, and your posterity their rights. That's absolutely priceless, so they don't get caught up in all this bullshit to start out with. Hopefully, it'll be long gone, by the way, with a little luck here. I'll be around to see some of that come true, as I've devoted 40 years of my life to this work. Um, and it's almost exclusively what I do, but I have a divine gift. I want to watch a movie, by the way, on that called A Beautiful Mind by Ron Howard, about a different man in the 1950s, a mathematician that was doing things like what I'm doing in my law and constitution studies. And you will make the connection here. That's how good I am. I do it off the top of my head, no notes, a cappella, and I shut up any and all attorneys. I mean, it's just amazing. Like a quickie before I go, my South Carolina case 9 years ago. I can't believe I'm saying that. And I got hauled across the country after being arrested out here in a library, which is hard to do. And it took 2 months to get from A to B because I went through on 4 different unmarked federal military aircraft, which I could get on without any real ID. So I get there and they haul me out there, and I'm in a red jail suit, handcuffed hand and foot, and they read the charge, practicing law without a license. I laughed. I said the problem with that is I don't practice it. I get it right the first time. And then the judge, who turned out to be one of the good ones, says, well, we have to check you out and be sure you're competent. Oh, if I could have thrown up my arms, oh, bark at a judge. For letter B, California, 422 U.S. 806. The problem with that is the Supreme Court ruled in Barron v. Baltimore, 1832, 7 Peters 243, the Bill of Rights doesn't apply to the states. Stop the proceeding in 90 seconds flat. And I should have been home at the end of that week, by the way. I was there until August because there was an investigation behind the scenes, which I can't prove now on the federal level of me being a domestic terrorist. But you'll learn all about that. Send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. And I did arrive safely back. It was quite an experience. And wouldn't you know, a court of record did not make a video of my appearance on April the 2nd, 2016. Court of record. That's $1 million video if I had that. I'd have shut them up like you can't believe. And I'm going to teach you how to do the same thing and assert your rights and start the process of getting out from under the de facto national socialist government. Now, that said, send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. Remember to subscribe, like the videos, tell your friends, get the word out. The quicker we start taking action, the faster we get these bastards off our backs. Thank you.